Hello everybody, I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian, and welcome to my February Once in Bloom. There are quite a few beautiful little orchids in bloom. I will say that the miniatures in my cool growing grow tent are some of the stars of the show, but as you can see, I do have several blooms here in the Cattleya tent. So with that, let's hop into it. So right here, this is my Cattleya Masdevallia. It is in bud, no blooms quite yet, but I will tell you right now, when this plant does bloom, you will be blown away. So very excited to see that. All right, let's check this guy out. This one has been a plant I have been so excited to see flower for months. This is my LC Moonlight, LC Moonlight Dream Carlos. A beautiful cerulean flared Cattleya. I mean, look at those flares, the purple tips of each of the leaves that connect right down into the middle. It's almost peloric. I actually think it could even be considered peloric with how the lip mimics those two petals. But what a beautiful, beautiful Cattleya. Has a very light fragrance and very compact grower. And as you can see by the roots, very, very happy growing in my grow tent conditions. Okay, right here is a new pickup from Waldor Orchids. Surprise, I'm going to have a nursery tour of Waldor Orchids coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. They have some beautiful stuff growing here in February, but this is Cattleya intermedia Flamea Sander. It is a species Cattleya, and it is gorgeous. I've seen pictures of flowers, so I can't wait to show you that. This plant apparently grows like a weed, has several spikes, several buds on the way, so cannot wait to show you that plant in flower. So really, really pretty. Right over here, this is one of my favorite Cattleyas I picked up from Quest Orchids. I just released a nursery tour of Quest Orchids last week, so check that out if you haven't watched. But this is a stunning, stunning plant. This is BLC Huayang Royal 5-star Cattleya Walkeriana by BLC Xinfeng Royal. It is a beautiful, beautiful Cattleya hybrid. Also growing very well for me. And the flower is extremely fragrant. You can smell it like all throughout my living room, even though it's here in my grow tent. Check out this beauty. If you watched my video of Sunset Valley Orchids, some of the new hybrids that they passed along to me, this guy was in bud and it is now in bloom. So here's the name on this guy. Let me just pull it out of here. This is that Epicattleya Kayaguchi hybrid with the Snowflake H&R 4N, and it has those beautiful flowers. I mean, check out that lip. The lip on this Cattleya is absolutely incredible. Gotta love how floriferous it is with several blooms on one spike. So very excited to see that plant grow and develop into the specimen that it will soon become. Now, coming down here, I have a couple blooms. Couple new orchids that I'd like to highlight. This one's not new, but one of my favorites. This is my Laelia Shelly Shun from Diamond Orchids. It is a beautiful little miniature orchid and has just that perfect little purple flower. It's bloomed quite a bit for me this year. And trusty bloomer from just about every new growth comes a bloom, is what I've found. But really special little plant. No fragrance, but I think when it gets large and blooms multiple growths at a time, you'll have several flowers on this guy. Now this one I'm very excited to highlight on the channel. This is my Cattleya, Cattleya Christelle Smith. Nathan's Reward. It's an HCC AOS award-winning orchid. Of course, Christelle Smith, if you're familiar, this orchid is from Crowsmith Orchids, and it is a very special plant. It is not often that you see an orchid with a bright pink flower with a yellow lip, and you can see a deep blood red on the tip of the labellum, which is really, really special for orchids. A really fantastic hybrid. Once a year bloomer for me, but blooming very, very well so far. Really, really nice. Okay. This is my Cattleya peccaviensis, and it is in sheath right now. There appears to be buds developing, so I'll be excited to show you that. Not sure how long it takes those buds to develop. Seems to be pretty slow, but when it does bloom, keep an eye out for that one. You will be impressed for sure. Over here is my Cattleya Little Hazel, also in bud. Looks like it has several buds on the way. Trusty bloomer, and it blooms several times a year with dark red flowers. Speaking of dark red flowers, let's come down here to see this beautiful, beautiful display. 3 spikes on this wonderful, wonderful hybrid. Picked up from Waldorf Orchids. I've been growing it pretty close to the start of my collection, but here's the name of this guy. It's Cattleya Why Not by SLC Wendy's Valentine. And this is the largest bloom out of flowers so far. It is really happy. Now this guy over here, this is the SLC Orpetii, Hidden Treasure by SLC Seagull's Apricot. Dark, dark red flowers. Of course, has some sophronitis in it, so stays fairly compact, but beautiful dark red flower. And then also, I'm going to move this guy over because I have some more buds right here coming on one of my Cattleyas from Sunset Valley Orchids. So excited to show you. That guy has beautiful, almost fluorescent purple lavender, or purple, almost red purple color. So very excited to show you that guy soon. Okay. Over here, not much blooming right now for my Brazilian species, although I do have some blooms here for this little guy. This is my Cattleya Leonard Gines, a Rupicolous Laelia hybrid of Lilliputiana by Itambana, and it has these gorgeous little yellow flowers. There are a couple of new growths on the way. It doesn't appear as though they have flowers, so I think this will be the end of the blooming cycle for this guy. Wonderful little plant. And of course I have several new growths down here on some of these flowers, so stay tuned for more Rupicolous Laelias and Brazilian species to bloom out in the near future. Okay, so that's it for blooms in the Cattleya tent. Let's go over to the cool growing grow tent. Okay, now I am over at my cool growing grow tent, where I do have several blooms and new additions to the collection. So very excited to highlight all of those for you right now. Okay, so let's start over here with a couple of new additions. You can see that guy right there is a Podochylus. This is one that I just picked up, Podochylus casiensis. And it's a very cool, interesting orchid. This is, in fact, an orchid. Almost looks like a fern. It is from, I believe, China and Malaysia. And it has cute little white flowers. So excited to show you those when it does bloom out. Hanging down here is a Masdevallia Saesia. I don't recall if I showed this in my last What's in Bloom, but nonetheless, this is a really special orchid. Really, really impressed with that one and excited to see it grow out for me. Okay, so down here I have several orchids that I'd love to highlight. They're all just growing very well. A new one here is a Masdevallia fuchsii equigenera. Has a very cool, almost tubular flower that looks like siphonantha, but it's white. Really, really unique plant, and no blooms. Just picked it up, wanted to highlight that one for those of you who view my What's in Blooms and want to know what new plants I have in the collection. Now back here, as I record this video, it's not in bloom right now, but this is my Restrepia brachypus. It does have a flower on the way that will bloom before the end of the month, so I'm going to highlight that now, but wonderful wonderful, trusty Restrepia flower. Grows very well in my conditions, and I find them very easy to grow. And they seem to create new growths pretty consistently. So really wonderful, wonderful plant. Okay, so here is where the majority of the brand new blooms are. This is my Lepanthes tower, where I have all of my Lepanthes orchids, and I will say I have several in bloom. These Lepanthes are some of my favorites, so let's start over here. This Lepanthes I just picked up from Equigenera. It does have several small blooms and some on the way. It was labeled as Tamiensis, but I don't know if that's actually what this is. I think it might be mislabeled. The flowers do not look like Tamiensis, but I could be wrong. So I'll keep you posted on that one, but you can see it has some blooms. Most of them are finishing up, but there are a couple buds on the way. Not sure if it'll open for the tour, but I just wanted to give it a highlight. Now, down here, we do have a bloom. This is my Masdevallia, or I'm sorry, my Lepanthes fimbriata. I hope I said Lepanthes tamiensis above, but Lepanthes fimbriata. Check out that adorable orange flower. They almost look like little tarantulas. I don't know. It looks like a little spider kind of crunched together, if you've ever seen a spider do that. But beautiful plant, gorgeous leaves. It did have another bud that closed up. There's another one on the way, so blooming very happily, several new growths. And I find Lepanthes to be pretty easy to grow. It's, for me, all about the water. That's what does it for them. So here is my Lepanthes caladictian. You can see that guy. Beautiful leaves, no blooms at this time, but stunning, stunning plant. This is my Lepanthes gargoyla, red and yellow variety, and it is in bud, and it's not going to be open in time for February once in bloom, but I will definitely highlight that for March when that tour comes out. Now over here I do have blooms on this. This is my Lepanthes caladictian by Barbalifera, and I'll show you those cute little flowers there. They're very hard to capture, so I'll do my best to make them as clear and visible as I can, but this is a beautiful, beautiful orchid. Beautiful leaves. I am a sucker for Lepanthes leaves, just like that. Now, right here is my Lepanthes aculeata, and check out the little flower. Isn't that adorable? I'll highlight the flower there. I did get a great video of the Lepanthes aculeata flower. But this plant is very, very interesting. Hopefully you can kind of appreciate it on the video, but the leaves are almost fuzzy. And this one is very forgiving to water on the leaves. Some of the Lepanthes can be very touchy on that front, but aculeata, very easy to grow. Of course, here's some more, a look at some of the other Lepanthes that I have in my collection that currently don't have blooms at this time. Some have buds on the way for next month, but just want to take a second to show these off for those of you who do love Lepanthes. So Lepanthes lucifer, and this is my Lepanthes larvina. Has several buds, none that will be open by the end of this month. So stay tuned for that in March. But wonderful, almost lily pad-like leaves on this guy. Very, very cool. And of course down here we have my Lepanthes deliastes, sending up some new growths, hopeful flowers on the way. Now, check out this guy that just opened for me today. This is my Lepanthes uxoria. Look at that flower. Get out of here. That is so cute. So small. It's almost white. And really unique plant. I love the leaves on this Lepanthes. So small. But I'll do a close-up of the flower because this one is a showstopper. really, really love the blooms on this Lepanthes uxoria. So, all right, let's go over here. I'm going to put this Lepanthes back in his home. All right, and then we're going to continue onward. So this is my Pleurothallis Dodsonii. Now you might look at this plant and say, where are the blooms? Where do they come from? Well, right there. Check it out. Right out of the base of the leaf comes an adorable little red flower. That is all the flower is, but this Lepanthes, or this Pleurothallis, is known for its speckled leaves, and it's sending up several new growths right now. Very happy plant. Picked up from Andy's Orchids in California. Okay. Right here is a Masdevallia exquisita. Unfortunately, did not get to the blooms in time for this tour, and won't be able to highlight them, but stay tuned. I'll hopefully be able to show those off very, very soon. My Masdevallia constricta, also in bud, has some spikes on the way, so I will highlight that next month also, because the buds will not be developed before the end of February, but it is a stunner. And now back here, of course, my Viduada. Hopefully you can see that little flower right there, but I'll do a close-up of the flower. The Pleurothallis Viduada, great trusty bloomer, and grows like a weed. Literally is a weed. Very, very cool. All right, this is what I am perhaps most excited to show you all this month. This is my Masdevallia Pachyura variety Pardinella. Check out these flowers. There are dozens of blooms on this plant. They are super, super odd looking Masdevallia flowers, but I just love this plant. Very compact, obviously super floriferous. Very excited to grow it to be an even bigger specimen in the future, but heck, look at all those flowers. Awesome, awesome plant. Now back here is my Masdevallia Angel Heart Ellen. Has two blooms right now. Very reliable bloomer, blooms almost all year round as new growths come up. The flower spikes develop as well, but very, very pretty plant. Okay. Now I also have right here, this is a Masdevallia harlequina. No buds or spikes at this time, but when it does bloom, I will show you that. Flowers are almost like a black purple color. So excited to highlight that one. Up here on this wall, I have several blooms that I'll be able to highlight for you all this month. Let's start down here where I have my Masdevallia, gosh, now I'm forgetting the name. Papillosa, that's what it is. Masdevallia Papillosa. It has about 5 spikes. One bud is really close to opening. If it does open before the end of the week, I will highlight that on the screen right now. So stay tuned if it's there. If not, there will be plenty to bloom in March. Here is my Restrepia royai, no blooms there, but up here, my Pleurothallis mystax. You can see that bloom there, a dark maroon, almost black flower. Wonderful species that blooms nearly constant in my conditions. Right here is my favorite Restrepia so far. This is Restrepia nitiorhyncha. Has very small cup-like flowers on very dark leaves. And it's blooming very well for me right now. So wonderful Restrepia. And then next to it is Restrepia Dodsonii. You can see that right there. Trying to get into the tent so you're not getting wind from the fan. But Restrepia Dodsonii, pretty unassuming flower. Kind of looks like a bug. Really matches that the namesake of being the cockroach orchid. So Restrepia Dodsonii, wonderful, wonderful bloom. Okay, check out this show that I have right now. This is one of my favorite Masdevallias. Check this out. I'm trying to show you in the light. That is unreal. This is my Masdevallia Copperwing. And as you can see, this is the best bloom out of this plant that I have ever had in all of the years of owning it. This is unreal. 5 beautiful flowers. There are a couple more coming on the way, but the fact that they all opened at once, I just wish I could have shown this plant. I wish there was an orchid show that I could have highlighted this orchid at, because I think it might have won something. Who knows? I don't know. Just love how it bloomed out. Another one that's blooming out quite the show right now is this little guy. This is my Masdevallia decumana. Species Masdevallia from Peru. Grows cool temperatures, and it has several blooms for me. You can see it has a couple more buds on the way. Really pretty plant. Tends to be a little bit sensitive to my temperatures, to be honest. It gets these like heat stress marks under the leaves is what I've come to realize, but nonetheless, beautiful flower. Cute little plant. And the flowers are the size of the the full plant, so pretty wild. All right, that's it for blooms for Masdevallias down here in the collection. Now over here, this is my brand new Dendrobium cuthbertsonii area. This is where I'm going to keep all of my cuthbertsonii, and I have several hybrids that are blooming for me right now. Now check out this. This is probably my favorite color variety on a cuthbertsonii, Dendrobium. These bloom for a very, very long time. This is Dendrobium cuthbertsonii Swiss Mountain Palace Pepe from Equigenera. And it has, of course, these pink and yellow bicolor blooms. Now back here, this is definitely the most floriferous of the cuthbertsonii that I have in my collection right now. I mean, check out that deep, dark red. That is, whoops, sorry about that, small spaces. Dark red. This is Swiss Mountain Palace Red Camilla, so same variety as the Pepe, or same hybrid, I should say. This one is just the red variety of that, growing very, very well. And then down there on the bottom of the shelf, as you can see in the back, that is my Dendrobium cuthbertsonii Tannii. That's been in bloom for quite some time. And then each of these flowers down here, each of these cuthbertsonii hybrids also have buds on the way, except for the Aussie's Kilo. No bud that I can see at this point, but everybody else has buds, so stay tuned for those beautiful, beautiful flowers. Now over here is my Restrepia chameleon. You can see that bud right there. I'm going to show you the flower on this guy. Very large Restrepia, both in flower and size of plant. It is the biggest one in my entire collection, but if you're looking for a show-stopping Restrepia flower, this is definitely something to look to add to your collection. So really, really cool. Of course, no more Masdevallia blooms up here. I'm going to come down here as well. This is where I have several of my large bulbophyllums, or things that I'm kind of nursing right now back to health. This is another Masdevallia that is in bloom right now. This is Masdevallia discoida, which I've highlighted several times in my What's in Bloom videos. Okay, well, that is going to conclude my What's in Bloom for February. I hope that you enjoyed the video and all of the new orchids that I have blooming in my collection. It has definitely been an impressive month for Masdevallias and miniatures for sure. Lepanthes and Masdevallias stole the show, I think, this month. So with that, Thank you all so very much for watching. I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.